So, you've probably heard the word Docker thrown around in basically every engineering meeting lately, right? But beyond all the industry buzzwords, what actually is it? And why has it completely taken over modern software development? Well, today, we're going to completely demystify Docker using some really fascinating real world analogies. By the end of this explainer, you'll have such a clear, structured grasp of the whole platform that you'll be able to confidently explain it in an interview or, right in the middle of your next architecture meeting. Let's get into it. All right, to really understand the solution, we've got to understand the problem first. Why is it that your code can run flawlessly on your local laptop, but the absolute second you try to migrate it to a live production server, the whole thing just crashes? We've all felt this universal developer pain. I mean, you spend hours writing an app, testing it locally, and it's humming along beautifully. But then you hand it over to testing or try to deploy it, and boom, everything breaks. Errors everywhere. And you're just left scratching your head using that classic developer defense. Well, it works on my machine. The real reason for this massive headache is that software doesn't travel alone. It actually carries a huge, messy ecosystem of baggage. When you're developing, you aren't just writing raw code in a vacuum. Your code relies on the specific environment of the machine you're working on. It relies on a specific runtime, like Java. It relies on web frameworks like Flask or specific Python libraries. And honestly, most importantly, it relies on the host operating system and its unique dependencies. So when you try to move just the code to a new server that maybe has a slightly different OS or is missing that exact version of Flask, it naturally fails. Replicating that exact ecosystem perfectly on a new machine is incredibly difficult and, frankly, super error-prone. To solve this, let's look at a pretty brilliant real-world analogy. Think about the global physical shipping industry a few decades ago. Transporting diverse goods, delicate electronics, perishable food, hazardous materials, it was an absolute logistical nightmare. Everything had different packaging and handling rules. So how did they solve all that chaos? Well, they invented the standardized metal shipping container. It doesn't matter what's inside. Electronics, gas, food, you just lock it in that standard steel box, and suddenly it can easily be loaded onto literally any ship, train, or truck in the world. And Docker solves software migration in the exact same way, by packing your digital code and all its messy dependencies into standardized digital containers. Enter Docker. So, the crucial point here is that Docker is the open source platform that gives you the exact tools to box up your code and move it anywhere. And because it's open source, anyone can use it to grab their application code, bundle it with the OS dependencies, the runtimes, the frameworks, and just lock them all together inside a standardized unit. Once everything is securely sealed inside that unit, you can easily port it, migrate it, and send it from a local laptop directly to a production server with absolutely zero friction. It's a real game changer. Now, what actually makes a container so special? It all really comes down to being a sealed, self-sufficient package. The absolute key terms to remember here are lightweight and standalone. Because it contains absolutely everything needed to run the app, it doesn't need to borrow resources or ask for permission from the environment it lands in. You just drop the container onto a server, and it runs. It's basically the ultimate vehicle for easy, reliable software portability. But, okay, here's where we really need to be strategic. You don't just stuff your entire massive application into one giant, heavy box. That totally defeats the purpose of being lightweight and agile. Instead, you break your app down into smaller, highly focused pieces, what we call microservices. So you might dedicate one container specifically for the front-end user interface. Then you spin up a completely separate container just to handle your database. And you use a third container exclusively for the business logic. By dividing a large service into these smaller, specialized components and putting them in their own individual containers, the whole system becomes incredibly lightweight, super easy to update, and highly portable. Of course, these containers don't just magically appear out of thin air. Before you can load a container, you need to know exactly how to build it. And that master template is called a Docker image. If the container is the physical metal box, the image is the precise engineering blueprint that tells the system exactly what materials to use, how big the box should be, and exactly what software and dependencies need to go inside it. Simply put, you cannot have a container without first having an image to dictate its creation. Now, if you're familiar with object-oriented programming, this comparison is going to perfectly cement the concept for you. Think of the Docker image as your class. A class in programming is, just a blueprint. It doesn't actually do anything on its own until you instantiate it. The Docker container then acts as the object. It's the actual, live, running instance of that template. And just like you can use one class to create multiple objects, you can use a single Docker image to spin up hundreds or even thousands of identical running containers. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so we have our blueprint, and we know what a container is. But what is actually doing the hard work on your server? Well, that brings us to the Docker engine. The Docker engine is the core software that you install directly onto your server's host operating system. It's the active manager that creates, runs, and destroys your containers. And what makes this so revolutionary is the sheer efficiency of it. Unlike older virtual machines, which force you to install a heavy, resource-draining guest operating system for every single application, the Docker engine runs directly on the host OS. This dramatically reduces overhead, letting your server run at peak efficiency without bogging down the hardware at all. To visualize this, let's jump back to our physical shipping analogy for a second. Picture the Docker engine as those massive, powerful mechanical cranes you see at a busy shipyard. The engine is doing all the heavy lifting. It takes those digital containers, efficiently lifts them, manages their placement, and drops them exactly where they need to be on your server. Without those cranes, the containers literally aren't going anywhere. Now, as we all know, software development is highly collaborative. When developers build these amazing container blueprints, the images, they need a way to share them with their team or even the global community. And this is exactly where Docker Hub comes in. Docker Hub is a central repository. If you've used GitHub for sharing raw code, Docker Hub operates on the exact same principle, just for container images. You can push your custom images up to the hub to share them, or you can pull down pre-built images created by other developers, which honestly saves you hours of configuration time. Returning one last time to our shipping yard, if the engine is the crane, Docker Hub acts as the massive warehouse sitting right next to the docks. It's this vast storage facility holding thousands of ready-to-go containers. They just sit securely in the warehouse until the exact moment the ship pulls into port and is ready to be loaded up for its journey. So let's see how all of this builds into a perfectly streamlined workflow, moving from the warehouse repository straight to a running application. Step 1, you pull a blueprint, the image, from the Docker Hub warehouse. Step 2, the shipyard crane, our Docker engine, takes that image and uses it to actively create and instantiate your container. And finally, step 3, that lightweight, self-sufficient container now runs seamlessly directly on the host operating system, completely free of those dreaded "it works on my machine" errors that used to absolutely plague us. All right, your containers are now isolated, perfectly packaged, and running beautifully on the server. But I'm going to leave you with this final critical thought. The ship is loaded and setting sail into the ocean, but what happens when your software faces rough seas? What happens when you suddenly get a massive, unpredictable spike in user traffic, or when thousands of users hit your database at the exact same time, creating a perfect storm? You have all these independent containers running, sure, but how do they actually communicate? How do you manage, scale, and orchestrate this entire fleet of ships during a hurricane? Well, that requires a whole new level of management, which leads us directly into the world of Kubernetes. And that is a topic we will absolutely explore next time. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.